quickly, PSA, public service announcement. Letting you all know there was a lot of Nectar fans in chat asking for an interview. I will try my hardest to line one up as we do move forward with the LCO. But for now, we've got to put that page behind us because Mammoth have lost today. So we couldn't get them in the post-match. But we got one more loser and one more winner here. And it's going to be either PGG, which is Pentanet for all you playing at home, or the Chiefs. So let's see how this one goes, because Pentanet is still undefeated, and we have loved exactly what we've seen from them all through this first split of the LCO. And Chiefs as well, you can say the same. They've pulled some crazy, crazy things and also been upset a couple of times. So is today the day where they can excel, Rusty?
Nah, surely not.
Ooh.
I mean, PGG have looked too good. You mean Chiefs excel, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they're against an undefeated team, right? So, no, you said it right. I was just confirming because your reaction had me worried that I heard it wrong. But they're against a team that has only had to play one style of composition most of the time. They've been wildly successful on it. They're so powerful with the champions that are getting banned away from them that no one can deny the comp that they're constantly winning on. And Chiefs have been wildly inconsistent. The last time we saw them was a loss. So you could make the argument that the loss-win curse is on and Chiefs will win this one. But you're up against an absolutely monumental team right now. It's a hard thing to do.
That's, you know, if we're looking at the pattern, could happen. It hasn't been broken just yet, so...
Oh, has it?
I don't...
Yeah, I think it happened yesterday.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
Well, let's just go with the storyline of they're due for a win. So let's keep talking Chiefs while we're on this point. And look, you guys watched the game yesterday. You watched a couple of pieces here and there, and you did notice some positioning errors maybe coming out for the Chiefs. So hopefully they've polished those up going into today, because this is not, you know, Pentanet is not a team you can make errors against, Skimmy.
Certainly isn't. They'll punish you convincingly in multiple areas. You know, they've really proven that there is consistency across the board, not because of previous synergy of seasons of yesteryear, but the fact that, you know, they come together, they know exactly what they want to do, and they're very comfortable being given, as Rusty said, you know, the same comp on repeat, maybe a few tweaks here and there, but you know, you look at Chiefs and say that their main damage threat comes from Swaif. He is their best performing player for the most part, but then Parbu is insane as well, so he completely nullifies that benefit, I suppose, that shining light. And then you start to say, okay, well, pound for pound elsewhere, unless they can really get a draft advantage, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle here.
And just quickly, Mac, before we move on to their opponents as well, what matters for the Chiefs in this game is that they're 5-5 in the standings, so they are within touching distance of a top 3 position, which saves you, it gives you an extra chance in the best of series come playoffs, right? So it's crucial, and they've got Gravitas, Mammoth, and Direwolves on their road home, so it's realistic. And if they win today, they actually put themselves into a fantastic position for that.
Yeah, they can tie themselves back up with Order, who they did lose against yesterday, which I mean Wednesday, last game day. And look, let's turn the conversation over towards Pentanet, the team that still has yet to lose. They've been doing a very good job at winning, you know. Even when they're behind, they know exactly what they need to do to get back into the game. You know, early losses, a couple of ganks here and there, it doesn't really faze them. They know all of the protocols, they have it all, and they've got the good looks to boot, don't they, Skimmy?
They certainly do, but they're not just pretty faces. They've got the mechanics to boot as well, and I would just love to see some emphasis towards bot side. Forget about Biopanther. He'll play anything, so don't invest any bans there. Sure, there's some meta champions that are really, really strong in the meta right now, but just leave him. Ban away this Kaiser. Maybe consider the Aphelios ban as well, because Predator just continues to get it on repeat. Then you look at Decoy. If it's not Alistair, then it's Seraphine. They're just finding Exodia after Exodia. You just can't have that many points of strength on the map at once. If you're looking to try and find an area to abuse or try and target or find advantages in, you can't have all these lanes just able to pop off in Pentanet's favor.
You know, I feel like they have shown a recipe and a way to be beaten, right? And I think Legacy are the team that has been the closest both times. It is having an absolute insane performance from the Shy Bowl if he chooses to play, but it's more about early leads, right? Like getting an early advantage, something that you'd be worried about when you see the PGG Peace matchup that they set themselves, right? Is if we lose lane, while we're good team fighters, we've just opened the door, right? And a similar thing could be said in every game you see from them from now on, because that's what they're working on, whereas where they excel is team fighting.
Well, look, team fighting, a lot of the time, at least early on, does get initiated by the junglers. And let's have a quick look at both junglers as well, you know. Setting up those ganks is something that Pabu has been doing wonderfully throughout the split. Swaith as well, you know, he goes for those carry champs a lot of the time and gets a whole lot of damage done. Rusty, look, there's a lot of numbers here. Can you please tell me what they mean?
I'm not going to go through all the numbers, Mac. That's a lot of effort, and I don't care enough about the numbers for that much effort. I want to rather talk about the players and the play styles that they both have, because while they share a champion in the Viego, that's really it, and that champion's not even available. What you're really looking at is a team that revolves around the jungler in the Chiefs. He is kind of the be-all end-all for them, and their success often hinges on how he goes in the early game. And on the opposite side is a team where Pabu can play for his laners very happily and very successfully, as well as be the carry if that is what his team requires. So there's versatility from what we would say right now is the best jungler in the LCO in Pabu against someone who feels much more one-dimensional in how he plays with his team.
Well, let's see how he goes today, or I guess how both sides of the field go today. And someone that's down on that field, which we love to bring in and have a chat to, is Nat T. Let's bring Nat back. Nat, who's down on the sidelines with you today for the final match?
Well, look, you know, you're talking about the junglers, and I'm not interviewing either of them. Instead, I'm interviewing both the supports. I'm going to be joined by Decoy and Draku. Thank you both so much for joining me. Decoy, I want to ask you straight up, you know, you guys say that you want to go undefeated, right? Like, that's where the real pressure is for you guys. So is today something that you've prepped a lot for, or are you at this point of comfort where you're like, hey, what we want to play today, we play, and however we want to play it, we play it?
I think being undefeated is definitely a goal, but I don't think it's like the biggest goal we have. Obviously, winning playoffs and going MSI is the end goal. Going undefeated would be a good bonus, but if we lose a game on the way, it doesn't matter. Like, doesn't mean too much.
Okay, and Draku, you say, every time I ask you this question, you always say you treat all the teams equally and, you know, with respect and all of that goodness. But surely there's been like a lot of extra pressure coming into this game with Pentanet, considering how close we are at the end of the round robin. So what prep have you been doing for them?
Okay, this week was definitely one of our hardest weeks, and yeah, like we prep a lot for like every single team, but like obviously PGG, like being the top of the board, we had to prep more. So yeah, that's all I can really say.
There's been a few teams or people out there that have like been calling Chiefs a little bit more one-dimensional. Are we gonna be seeing new things with you guys today, or is it going to be, you know, really just focusing on you guys and trying to improve what you've been doing already?
We're definitely trying to branch out and do new things, but I think that I guess we are kind of one-dimensional, but it's the thing that we've been finding the most success on. So like, yeah, we'll definitely be learning new stuff.
Alrighty, I'm keen to see where that goes this game then. My last question for you, Decoy, is because you guys are kind of just coming out of draft, almost always being, you know, the favorites, what is the general team focus for the team coming into these games, and also for your takeaways?
I think for us, like in scrims, we're like trying new technology, I guess, because we're pretty much getting the same stuff every draft. Like every team just gets mind controlled to give us our best drafts. But apart from that, it's pretty much just I guess in game we're focusing on our macro more. And I mean, that's probably it.
Alrighty. Well, I won't keep you both any longer. Good luck with the game tonight.
Can I say something else
thank you again for joining me.
before we leave?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, go ahead.
Victory royale.
Oh my god. God, that one, if that is not becoming anyone's ringtone, then I'm going to be disappointed.
Buy a merch, Chiefs shop, buy a merch, boys.
Damn, how much
that's
Drake being paid right now? Thank you both so much for joining me. I
Chief
appreciate it. Good
Thank
luck
you.
again.
Jesus Christ.
Always
Dude,
the
that
character.
man, he's just a shell right now. He has just sold his soul just to say those things.
Look,
God, I want PGG to win so much more now.
all I want is Kuden to continue on that verse, because we know
Yes.
that he started it last week, what, 3, maybe 4 times, but he couldn't get to the second line. So I'm
You
just
know that's
really
what's gonna come
hoping
out.
he can get over that hurdle. Now, let's bring up the predictions before we get into the game to see how this one's going to be playing out. And look, I've been Draku sent me a couple of his progress photos at the gym, and I've just had to go. Like, those guns, mate, if they don't get Chiefs over the line today down in that bot lane, I don't know what will.
If it's not the guns, then it's the apparel he's trying to shill out on stream, right?
Exactly, that's it. You know, and he spins a good yarn. He spins a good yarn, he does, and he broke my hand at least in 3 different fingers when I shook his hand the other day. So why'd you go for Pentanet? You just want to, you know, state the obvious? Anyone? Rusty?
Oh, no, I'll start,
Okay.
actually. You know, on Tuesday, I said Jubes, right? Reviewed the VODs. Dude's pretty much 100%. So I went with Jubes. I decided on the Wednesday would shake things up and would go with Rusty's predictions. And that, you know, regret, because we lost the first one, right?
Yep.
So I decided for the 3rd day this week, we'd go with Skimmy's predictions. So whatever reasoning Skimmy's picked, that's exactly mine too.
My tips were the same as everyone else on Wednesday. They were the exact same. What do you want from me?
Look, all I'm going to
Yes,
say
good
in that
point there,
is
Nat. Really good point. Thank you.
sung you praises all night, but now I've got to tell you, it's bloody unoriginal. You know, do your own tips next time, or someone's going to be coming after you. I'll get producer Phil on you, and he's actually on me at the moment. He said, "Get into the bloody champ select, Mac, because you're holding up the game." So we're going to go down to the sidelines, and we'll see you after. Dragcoot, look, love you. I hope you watch this back later. See ya.
Well, on that note, here we go for the final game of week 4 here, Rusty. Undefeated Pentanet looking to try and make it 11-0. They already qualified. They already guaranteed first position in the seeding. But can Chiefs cause an upset? Sure, that alone would be something special, but also for their run to get to playoffs. As you already touched on before, they really want to guarantee yourself in that top 3 for that extra life.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, first place in seedings guarantees you skipping a best of 5 as well, right? So every incentive to want to continue to go undefeated, continue to be in that first place role. If we're going to look at the draft so far, PGG, just looking at their match history, all I can see is Kai'Sa. Half of the games are Seraphine and half of the games are Victor. Jungle Pool is the one thing that has been attacked to the point where maybe we get something different in the last 8 games from Pabu, not something that is consistent. But what exists is it's a tank that can engage, so he's still got options. And I don't think that the Chiefs have broken the trend with what we've seen so far.
No, and I think this touches on Decoy's point as well, right? The fact that maybe now going into scrims, they themselves having to try and maybe quote grief their draft to try and experiment with different ideas and get themselves ready, because maybe there's a false sense of security, right? When you're given the pick of the litter every single time, that when you do come into playoffs, you're thinking, hang on a minute, we only have this one comp set in stone. But hey, when it comes to regular season, Pentanet will for sure take it, as Chaz cycles through all the options. Said, well, what else would it be? It will be a Kaiser.
Yeah, wow, shocking news. So it's going to be 9 in a row. Just Kai'Sa after Kai'Sa. Of course, on the other side, you've seen the choice of the Xayah. It does work nicely into Seraphine, does work nicely into Sion, I guess, as well for ultimates, and helps a lot with your composition. If your opponents are going towards you, then you have a natural advantage, right? Like if a Kai'Sa ults towards you, you have 100 feathers that can pull back towards yourself. Gale Force also enables that to hit onto a lot of people to make sure that you don't have to flash for it. So far, I think the one thing we will see is a lot more focus towards Pabu, who usually would see a jungle champion locked in the first 3, but also at the same time, because Swaith is your opponent, he is on the red side. I don't think I'd be shocked to see a 5-pick jungle.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all, because we can see the amount of bans going their way right now. Seen Pabu play the Skarner, we've seen Swaith play the Kayn, we've seen that both of these players very keen to pop off and be that initiator, that ability that sort of fueled the fuel maker for success to get themselves into the mid game without any major hitches more than anything right now. The Victor's going to come on through, as Chaz in recent games has shown that, hey, look, if we're going to have this solid early game, then we will have that scaling option for team fights too. So interesting to see, as you say. just where exactly these junglers will go and how to look to try and complement what they've already got locked in.
Yeah, and you're going to be taken away here as well. One thing that we can get really into once the game loads into the Rift is mid-game lane assignments for Chiefs. That's the one thing that I really want to explore through this matchup. If Chiefs do well in the early game, what does their mid-game look like? Because that, to me, was the point where they failed a bit against Order. So right now with the comp they've got, you know, 1 item spikes are big, 2 item spikes are big. This only adds to that conversation even further, as now Kisei is reliant on being grouped with the rest of his team and navigating more as a 5v5.
Certainly is. It'll be his second game as the Orianna now to really give this idea of wombo combo, be it aggressive or defensive, to try and answer and match the aggression that Pentanet no doubt will be showing their way. They've gone for the hover onto the wards of Lux, but the Zoe would make far more sense in another champion that Chaz very proficient at.
Yeah, nothing massively surprising here with the follow-up from Pabu as well. While it isn't a tank engaged champion, it is a hard farming jungler. Olaf very much cemented in the meta still, even after all of the changes we've seen towards him and towards the jungle in general. They've already got engage in their comp as well. Seraphine is something that is uniquely capable, but they also have the follow-up from like a bubble that connects or a Scion ultimate that goes through. So PGG, stock standard, compositionally speaking as well. Just a couple of different champions, not their most played. And speaking of different champions and not most played, Swaith has gone for the oddball choice.
Certainly has. We've seen that Pabu's already played this beforehand and went for a build that really had no mythic item at all, right? It was an on-hit build. Surely they're just
Doesn't it look like the Shyvana is actually holding the Gnar on top of it? That's what I lost it at. But that actually legitimately looks like it's like meant to be like that.
Well, I was wondering if that was what you were referring to, right? The fact that Gnar is sitting on top of his head like a little pet plushie.
I think it was the other side not doing their swaps in time, but they managed to get those done. So again, it's your stock standard. Chiefs on the other side here. To talk towards what the Shyvana actually does, it doesn't do a lot early besides farming. The ganks that it sets up aren't great, unless you have maybe a chilling smite or a flash to get some damage down. But if you're an AP Shyvana, you hit mid-game, you know, you turn into a dragon, you're a monster, throwing out E's constantly, just doing serious burst damage, which works nicely with the rest of that composition. Hit a shockwave, Shyvana presses E on top, dead.
Yeah, and it just means you can definitely take down squishy members in a heartbeat, right? With the Nash's Tooth, no doubt, rushed first and foremost, maybe make that a Night Harvester. The ability to stay on top of one key member is going to be very apparent here and kind of fits the bill for what Swaith's identity is, right? He wants to be the carry, another champion that certainly can carry, but it comes in waves, its damage patterns, as compared to what the Olaf can bring.
Yeah, and tends to want to play for itself in regards to resources, right? Isn't going to be playing towards laners. Laners will trend to playing towards a Shyvana. So that definitely is the prototypical Chiefs philosophy and how they want to execute on Summoner's Rift. Kisei lived playing towards Swaith as solo laners, and Boma Dragku, if they get priority down there, Swaith may be invading. Dragku does love a good roam. He goes for those boots of mobility on Alistar when we last saw it. Also in his hands, though that was a defeat, he was actively moving around the Rift and did look like the best part of the team in their loss to Direwolves.
Well, we'll see what they can do to close out week number 4. It's Pentanet taking on Chiefs, and to coach us through this one, we do have Coach Kuden from the Chiefs on standby once again. Welcome back onto the show. I want to open up, really first and foremost, with the idea that Praetor once again gets the Kaiser, Decoy gets the Seraphine. What is the X factor here for the Chiefs bot lane to shut this comp down for good?
I baited them into picking them. We scrimmed like that bot lane 100 times, and we have a 100% win rate against it. Our win con is kill them.
Oh, it's as simple as that. Just kill them and disrespect them.
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit about this this jungle matchup, because this one's a little bit exciting, right? We know that Swaith has been so integral to your team's identity. You know, 40% of the kill share has gone towards him, whereas Pabu is very keen to get in the mix of things. What does this matchup look like for you? We see a lot of jungle bans go that way. Is it a case of Swaith just trying to hit him with the Diffy and a Jiffy?
Yep, Swaith farms a Stormer, then 2 shots everyone later. Huge
I'm excited to I'm excited to see what that looks like, because no doubt with the dragons that you can acquire as well, should give you guys a big source of power. Speaking of power, strength of schedule, obviously up against Pentanet here today. Undefeated. This would really, if you were to get the victory here today, put you in such a solid spot, given that your next 3 games afterwards, theoretically, should be a little bit easier.
Yeah, was that a question? I feel...
Yeah, well, I suppose the question really was... Yeah, more so the question really was, what would a victory look like for you guys today?
As in how we are going to win. I'm really confident about today. Pentanet are going to be really surprised. I want to apologize for the last 2 days. I kind of trolled, but today I'm really confident now. I think we're coming in really strong tonight.
And you think this is the draft to do it? Rusty, anything to touch on here from the draft, from what we've seen with some of the adaptations already?
Yeah, look, my only question for you, Kuden, is I think Dragku might have stolen your thunder a little bit. You know, he came into it before the game and was quoting Victory Royale. So I just want to know if your opinion of Dragku has changed since that moment.
Nope, he's still the king.
Still the king.
He's a legend.
Well, there you go. There you heard. You heard it here first. He's still the king. They've got the sound bites on lockdown. Hey, Kuden, thank you so much for your time as we close off the week here. And it looks like, from what I understand from the producer, a small little internet issue. So we might have a couple of minutes before we can jump back into the action, Rusty. But well, I think that tells us pretty much all we need to know about this one. They're going to pop off. They're just going to win. That's how you play League. They're going to win.
Anything away from that interview, Skibby, the secret to winning the game is to kill your opponents. And Kuden made it crystal clear that their way to do that in this game is by winning. And that's what that was the bulk of the analysis that we got from that one. I love it. I think it's wonderful, and I hope we get more Kudens in the future. But I think there is a little bit more subtlety and nuance to, you know, get the health bars to 0. Kuden definitely just having some fun in the interviews. And not the easiest lane to kill down there in the bottom lane as well. A Kai'Sa and a Seraphine as your lane opponents. I mean, it's very difficult to get lethal on either of those members.
Yeah, and as we get ourselves ready to jump back into the action, I've just got word here that we have another op.gg that we can review to keep you guys at home entertained. Let's bring it up on the screen. It's a mid-game roast, why not? And why would it not? It's a Uni player. It's exactly what you want to see.
Next, I don't like what I'm looking at all. Do you want my honest opinion, Skimmy?
Absolutely, mate.
All of those champions are dirty. I respect that he's winning on them, you know, like he's got positive win rates, but that's a Yuumi. You know what else I don't like, Skimmy? Janna. I feel like they're 2 peas in a pod. And as far as I'm concerned, if you've got a win rate of 64% on Yuumi, it makes me worry that your win rate will be less if you play other champions. But he's debunked that for me, at the very least. It's not just Yuumi and Janna. I'll give him credit. He has the 80% Hecker and win rate. Graves up there as well. Realistically, he just chooses to play Yuumi because he likes cats, and I just don't like that.
Well, I suppose that is the proof to tell everybody at home in Twitch chat that, hey, if you play Yuumi, you too can climb up to Diamond 1. So there you have it. It's the recipe for success.
That was a lie.
Get Rusty tilted, get it trending. He absolutely hates the champion. But it looks like, as we talk about Yuumi, we talk about the game state as well as we jump back into the action, and we get to see how Pentanet take on Chiefs.
Already you can see at level 1 he's giving me a lot of aggression in the early game, so it is going to be quite difficult to just kill your lane opponents when they're able to make your life difficult. Of course, you're an Alistar and a Xayah, so like realistically, you don't have a level 1. Xayah Rakan has the advantage of, you know, having the W on Rakan, also getting amplified with auto attacks from when Xayah presses W, right? So you've got a lot. Right now, Alistar can maybe go Flash Pulverize, but then you don't have a headbutt to push him under turret. Xayah can throw feathers at you, but can't pull them back to trap you. So they need level 2 before they get to exist at all.
Yeah, definitely those champions that need that advantage. And as a result, going to have to sacrifice this wave, be zoned away, and wait to fight another day. As we get to see some initial trading working really well in Biopempha's favor. He's topped up and healthy, but lived is down to 50% already.
Yeah, top lane trades going very advantageously here for Biopanther. We consider what happened in bot lane. We're waiting to get an extra CS in the hands of Mboma as he is stuck on 1. We'll start to get a couple of them now as it crashes. And realistically, that just means across the board, you know, PGG are going to start to have control. And if you're an Olaf who is just full cleared while your laners are winning for you, that's the dream. So now he's just going to be able to go towards Scuttle Crabs wherever you like. Bot side where he's path towards, that's a free Scuttle. Do you choose to invade? Well, it's easier said than done, as Swathe has gone for what you would presume is a full clear and has done so anyway. We'll be able to go Scuttle to Krugs. Lived might get a bit of backup.
And he's going to quite honestly need it at this stage, having gone for the Doran's Blade. He has no potions. Biopemp is going to go for the face check there, try and get a ward down. Flash is matched. He's going to try and run him down with the red burn ticking. It guarantees first blood here before the 4-minute mark.
There you go. Swathe is on the correct side of the map. Biopanther, I think realistically just got baited into his own lane state there. Thought he was trading, it was going so well. There was no intervention or use for the Narb before he hits Mega in that situation. But meanwhile, bottom lane, Skimmy, you've even got Chaz coming around here just to try and deny and zone them from everything.
Yeah, and zone he does because he's stolen away the Everfrost as an item, so he's going to utilize that and put Draku to sleep and say that, look, if you guys were looking to get dived upon, it's a very real option as they forced a 4v2, but the wave not being crashed means that they're unable to continue the idea any further.
And I am concerned because I worry that the one positive thing Chiefs may get from this game was what happened top lane, and was the kill for Swathe. Just based off the fact that mid lane had such strong priority that he's literally able to walk down here anyway and put that much pressure onto Draco and Mboma through the way of damage dealt, that they are just in so much trouble in this lane. They're in hot water. They don't get any assistance from Lived, and Swathe used his flash for the top lane gank, and he's a Shyvana that wants to farm. So this is a very rough situation for the Chiefs across the board, even though they got that kill.
It feels to be that way because we know how in multiple games now Chiefs have tended to path elsewhere towards mid and top as opposed to giving resources to Mboma, whereas Praetor loves to receive those resources. He is the lion's share of their kills and economy and damage output as a result, so the mismatch there will be interesting to see how it does affect things as the game goes on. 5 minutes on the spawn, Swathe decides to rock up to the Dragon Pit and decides against it in the end, as it's not an option that would really favor them too well given the current lane state priority. And Olaf, or Pabu rather, now sniffing out trouble as Draco looks for a mid-roam gank.
Yeah, I mean, you could force priority in mid if you wanted to. It would be easier said than done depending on some of the balloons that Zoe's able to pop. But nothing massively influential came from that one. In saying that, you know, Drake is something that you don't want to willingly give away if you're a Shyvana comp, just because you get so much from it. Shyvana always wants to secure those objectives, but like highlighted, you know, there's no such thing as priority in bottom lane. They were due for a reset, so Draco takes an opportunity to protect mid. But there's still too much going the way of PGG, so they will be able to secure a free uncontested Drake. And Pabu will just be able to go back to those Krugs, be a Krug Goblin as he pushes towards level 6.
Certainly will. And you can see here the fans at home believe that this is Pentanet's game to win. Undefeated so far, wanting to make it 11-0, and off to a fantastic start here with the Ocean Dragon secure with the zoning ability on full lockdown here. As you can see, Decoy being the pest on this Seraphine, really making dive difficult for Mboma to play upon. But Swathe proving towards the top side. He's going to put a bit of attention towards Liv. They found the first blood there. And knowing that Pablo was in the area bot side, can look to do some counter jungling of his own.
He's quite well off still. You know, all credit where it's due to Swathe. He has hit level 6 well before that of his jungle opponent. He's also taken Gromp and Blue, so full invade is on here. And Pabu has no jungle camps to go to if this is taken. You know, he's literally just got the Wolves, and they have vision to spot him as he comes through. So this is a big advantage for Swathe in particular, while not for the entirety of the Chiefs overall, but that's what you want to do, right? You want to get yourself to 6, get yourself to the Nash's Tooth as soon as possible, so you can have a meaningful influence on your lanes. And then you'll be poised to fight if you are the Chiefs.
And that is meaningful damage. Comes at a big expense. You transform into the dragon, you hit the evolution, and you smack somebody on the head. And we saw what Pablo did on that champion only before. When we looked at the damage chart afterwards, I think he was actually leading that one, even though he was jumping in and really hand-feeding a lot of those kills across elsewhere on the roster of Pentanet. So excited to see what Swathe can do. True to his name, loves to be the carry. Now, here's the situation, Rusty. Pablo behind enemy lines, looking to try and steal away not only the Wolves, but maybe the blue buff on spawn with the vision all in their control. How do Chiefs get here?
He should be able to get it. You know, Swathe plays from enemy blue to his red to Herald, so he's not looking to defend his blue side jungle And again, looking at priority and controls, Chaz forced it on Zoe to the point where he has no mana. Draku, just by looking here, might be dead.
Yeah, he might be in a whole bunch of trouble right now. He has no ultimate. They're just all in and collapse. And the fact that he has no Unbreakable Will means he is so damn squishy. Flashes are burnt. Ultimates are committed. And Pentanet find their moment to shine.
I mean, that's a little bit poo-poo there from Drag. That's not a victory royale decision, let's put it that way. He knows his jungler's on the other side of the map. He knows he has absolutely zero priority and has no business being at that blue buff. All that does is add to the risk of you dying. So ultimately, you know, PGG do punish it, but he's the one who's put himself in that position. And, you know, if that was a decision to try and defend your bot lane outer turret or defend from a dive, I get why he considered it. Kisei is dead, by the way. But at the end of the day, you know, it shouldn't have happened for Draku, and they give over extra money to PGG.
And it goes across to that man again in Praetif. He finds that moment, and the trade for them, given the fact that Draku burnt his flash, both Pabu and Praetif committed theirs. The Ignite came out there from Decoy as well. So you can make an argument that, sure, slightly still in Chiefs' favor, despite all things considered. It is going to be Chaz, though, putting Kisei to sleep, and just hit him with the one-shot.
Now, the Sleepy Trouble Bubble is an absolute menace to deal with. Kisei going for the teleport in mid lane. Also, instead of a cleanse, you would often see cleanse into a Zoe, but you know, there's no CC in a jungler that you want to remove. There's not a lot of things to cleanse in general. He could have gone for it, but teleport, tempo, priority, I understand the choice, and that's ultimately what will be his downfall in this situation. Nice little roam there from Bio.
Good roam and a good opportunity to claw back some of the anger, more than anything, that happened in that top lane gank only to start off this game with. So he gets his mid laner into the mix of things. Worth noting also, just whilst we have a moment to talk about it, Draku has gone for the phase rush again, so not going for the aftershock build, looking for the mobility, as tends to be two different variations as an Alistair player.
Yeah, I mean, really the flowchart is quite simple on, like, one, do I need Aftershock or am I inting if I don't have it? Possibly. The other one is, I want to be able to hit my follow-up stun, so I need the phase rush to keep the distance closed. And oftentimes, you know, when you're against lanes that have slows or a Gale Force, even a Kai'Sa ultimate, that's generally the way that you would do that. One of the other conversations you could have is, do I have flash? As he doesn't, but he's engaging.
Certainly is, and that means that Swave can jump in here to Dragon Form, hits him with the massive damage. Out goes the Encore, hits absolutely nobody. TP first hit from Pentanet as Bipanther joins into the fight. That's matched here by Lived, who's already a Mega. Not going to try and use that ultimate as he jumps away to the safety of his own turrets. The Void Seeker does connect there from the river, and everybody, true to Pentanet's fashion, converge on bot lane to protect.
It was a really quick snap decision to disengage there by PGG also. They have priority, they look towards the Drake. Chiefs, in terms of a response, have just lost their Mega Gnar, so it is a difficult thing to consider, and it will be the second Drake of the game given completely free. It's not a Cloud Soul, it is going to be the Mountain Soul instead. And nice little play, you know, early teleport from Biopanther just to make sure that they're safe, gets there slightly before Lived, even though he teleports in as Mega Gnar. They couldn't follow up.
They guarantee it, and they put themselves in a very comfortable position now, Rusty. That's 2 dragons to their name. They're going to be playing for a Mountain Soul as well, and that mitigation will prove to be invaluable for the likes of Bio and Pabu, who tend to be quite keen to get into the mix of things, will be willing to throw themselves into the chaos, and that mitigation will just make life of the bursty nature of Chiefs that much harder to pull off.
Nice little use of the portal there from Chaz to make sure he gets an auto attack on the eye of the Herald before it actually charges, so saves a lot of damage going onto the structure. Overall, you know, just a Herald placed in mid lane before 14 minutes, can't complain about that one at all. Now threatening top lane and blue buff, I think, as well. We've got Kisei with a bit of priority. Chaz very low mana, so if they force the smite, it's on.
It certainly is. They're going to hit him with the Gnar into the ultimate. He's instantly going to pop that Ragnarok, and the blue buff invade has been successful. Swave's picked that one up for himself, so Chiefs looking to assert themselves a little bit of vision dominance and control over a particular portion of this map, but the cost seems to be the AD carries battling it out in the bot lane to try and get as many turret plays as possible.
Oh, that teleport going into mid lane is risky. I think Kisei wants it, but just gets put to sleep. I mean, he had reinforcements right there, Draku on a flank, so I like the idea, though we didn't get to see all of it on screen. Just unfortunately, you know, Chaz as those home guard boosts from teleporting in will be fine. You mentioned bot lane, Skimmy. That is the bulk of the difference here if we're looking at things that favor PGG as a response of a nice invade by Chiefs. Significant difference between the AD carries since level 1 in this game.
And that's a combination of multiple things, right? Between CS to kills to turret plates to everything. And the resources go into this man's hand. And we've seen him do it time and time again. Continues to get the same champion. And you have to wonder, does it give the same outcome? When will the trend be broken? Because this laning phase has been anything but rough here for the Chiefs so far.
Cool.
Fire Panther, looking for a cheeky all-in. Might just hit him on the head. Pops once and twice, takes him down, and Lived has committed both summoners, and he's unable to survive that exchange.
Yeah, Lived has committed some illegal gaming, it seems like, as Biopanther's able to just casually solo kill him in top lane. Meanwhile, where the resources are, they break a turret shockwave.
They really do. That's Chaz now down to 30%. He's looking to try and do whatever he can to survive, but he doesn't need to do much. He'll pick up the kill, but the boys there to protect him, and the mobility that Pentanet present on towards Kisei is just too much for him to handle, and he'll fall on down for the second time now.
Yeah, the magical footwear there with the stride breaker rush from Pabu. Absolute nuisance to deal with when he stride breakers as Olaf, because then the axes are impossible to miss, and he's just got you on lock. So Pabu, nice little move there in mid lane. Kisei feeling aggressive, you know, saw his moment to use a shockwave, but the reinforcements were there, and you can never count on a 1v1 when you're against PGG.
Certainly can't. And they're going to make sure now that the ranks of Chiefs continue to be broken up as they find themselves their third objective in a row. That's going to be the next Rift Herald, as they can now continue their aggression on the map. They found the first turret, 50 minutes in, they've got the kill lead. They've got themselves a 2k gold lead overall as well. And it continues to favor them with the gold being in all the right places.
And it just feels like, you know, like, looking at the difference between both of these teams as we're 15 minutes in now, it's felt like Chiefs have overall made sound decision-making on a macro level. It's just that the micro has been failing, you know. I think draft has a factor in this for sure. That bot lane draft really ruined bot lane for them, level 1, especially if your jungler's pathing away in any capacity, as he was. That aside, you know, there's been sound invades, there's been slight edges, some objective control has been nice, they've been trading for those. It's just the micro level here, where there's a lot of sinning going on, Skimmy. And the only sin that I like is Juves.
That's a good call. And no doubt, as a jungle connoisseur himself, even he'll be looking at this one, and I'm sure having his own take on things. As Chiefs invest heavily bot side, it was 3 members as Kisei looked to try and take down that structure there. Pentanet capitalized on that moment, with Mboma single-handedly left to his own device. As they summon the Herald, they take down the first tier 1. They guarantee a second turret as well. A huge explosion of map control, and just like that, it's 3-0.
I mean, yeah, one little piece of chunk there is just going to do significant amount of work to the health bar of Mboma, who is at level 9 right now, to the 11 of Chaz. So checks out that the damage would be severe. Looking at item spikes as well, you've got full mythics for the 3 core members of PGG. The auxiliaries are the ones lacking behind, but the AD carry of Chiefs not close just yet. So this is a really big window of opportunity for Pentanet.gg to get more aggressive, more rowdy on the map, and start to really pick apart Chiefs with the advantages they have and snowball this game through.
And Snowball, they have done incredibly well right now. You talk about those sort of micro advantages of making your moves and how it all plays out, and the difference has been here that Pentanet have taken full command of the situation, that they've put themselves in a situation where, you know, 21 minutes, there's a sole point to play for. That it's such a rough situation, I suppose, more than anything, to find yourself in as an opposition, because you might want to buy some time and look at, you know, more item spikes or more lane states working in your favor, or making trades elsewhere. But sole point this early on, it's a bit of a catch-22 as to how do we let it get here.
Yeah, it's a dire straits moment for sure. And the thing is, right, like, we mentioned this before the game starts. When you're attacking a team like PGG, you want to get ahead early. Like, you want to be more like Legacy in the way that they play their early games, right? Be strong early, translate that to team fights. And the Chiefs kind of took the approach here of team fights. And they didn't have that first step to get an advantage. And you're starting to see your opponents here, you know, the best team in the league who hasn't lost a game, run away with it because you've given them strengths where they even themselves say that they are the weakest.
Yeah, and they're fully capitalizing on that. It's a gift for them. They're very content with how things are playing on out, and you know, it does beg the question. You know, continuing this trend of if they've themselves admitted it, what does it actually mean? Because skirmishes definitely present themselves, and Praetif just might go for the 1v1 cheeky turnaround play. Hits the no-scope with the W, forces out the flash there from Mboma as Decoy tries to lock him down for an easy second kill. Both flashes, Draco and Bipanther on the run. They're trying to run towards their bot tier 2. He pops the ultimate, but the CC is ticking on through. Lived is there. He's not mega. He's already used the ultimate, so it wouldn't help anyway. And out come the sad B emotes, because that's two crucial members, two engaging members of the Chiefs gone.
I guarantee you Chaz is a sad B because his Sleepy Trouble bubble that was on the ground didn't actually clip onto the Alistar, but they get him either way. Chaz now looking, the bubble hits.
Oh, no. He just shockwaved himself. It really summarizes how this game has gone so far here for the Chiefs. He's on the flank as the Orianna. And that just gives Pentanet another beautiful kill.
That's a tilt wave. Praetor's now in trouble, though. Doesn't have his ultimate or flash.
Look at that, though. The burst impact from Shyvana. We can see what it's looking to try and achieve here. He might just run back to the safety of his own turret. Out goes the Flame Breath once more. Two crucial members down to 50%, but no killing blow. And Pentanet just continue to flirt with danger.
It will get them the mid lane outer turret, so you take that. Praetor definitely was just trying to push his luck a little bit going into the enemy red side jungle while his team was resetting. He was also walking into Chief's vision, so does get punished nicely for it. You know, lucky he's got Danny nearby, Decoy to assist him on that escape. If there was no physical body blocking of the Shyvana, that could have been death. We'll see this 1v1 again. The Swathe does not transform at any moment. And the Gale Force is able to cover enough distance and then just gets the execute with the W. So, I mean, nicely played from Praetor, but there was definitely tools to escape if you were Swathe. Had his flash and his ultimate just quietly. This is the bubble that makes Chaz a sad B. Draku does get to just walk somehow through that. But basically, if you were in range and you had a flash and you were on the Chiefs, you had to use it to get away. And then the tragedy of Kisei's death after.
Yeah, they were rather disjointed. Pentanet is a roaming death squad. Bully them out of their own jungle, force them to take flanking angles and disperse every which direction. And unfortunately for them, the composure of Pentanet proving to be far too strong just from the very get-go of that clip, right? The fact that Swaith's initiating on Praetor, and he hits the no-scope just to take him out and ensure that they start the trade and they win it too.
Oh, good night. Oh, shockwave.
Nice shockwave onto Chaz right there. Okay, now the Pabu comes on through the Ragnarok, and it's just not going to be enough, unfortunately, for him. Liv tried to initiate, but Liv will fall on down, and the damage, it seems to be lacking here, Rusty.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like the control is lacking more than anything else. Oh, wow.
I just don't care. Praetor is just, he's unleashed. They've taken him down as well. The red buff is insane. Praetor is looking to basically create himself his own highlight reel in this match right here. And on lockdown, you talk about control. Chaz is making it so hard for the Chiefs to play right now. Everybody getting put to sleep. If you dodge that, then you've got to deal with Seraphine. And Pentanet covering every single angle with Swathe looking for a flank again, but unable to find it.
Yeah, I mean, Swathe needs the flanks, needs to be able to transform into the dragon and then start throwing out those nukes. But as it stands, he doesn't have other members of the team to actually stand in front and be a 4 for the split. There's no flank angle, because there's no front line to flank 4. It has the 2 items, right? Swathe can do significant damage in a team fight, but just hasn't been enabled. You know, the vision control is the first step in all of these equations, and PGG have it in spades. And Chiefs are just left trying to pick up the scraps in response. And, you know, all these trades that happen, bottom, all these picks that happen, is a result of Chiefs not knowing that there's literally 5 of their opponents right around the corner, and they're just baiting you in.
And it's proving to be a very successful tactic so far. You can see that Pentanet, a team playing very confidently. 10 kills to 1 right now. They've got those gold leads, and they forced out Liv to hit the ultimate. Unfortunately, does not connect as they try and flip the game as such. Baron has spawned. It's 22 minutes into this one, and Chiefs know that it's a 5k lead against them and a sole point to deal with too. And it's a very difficult situation to find yourself to come back from.
I don't hate that from Lived at all. He was about to transform back to Mini and is on cooldown for quite some time, so it's not the worst decision. You see Nars do that to clear waves occasionally. I like it. They're going to try and find Chaz here as well.
Yeah, good flash.
Not going to be able to do so. At the end of the day, you know, you are feeling that, right, Skimmy? Like, you know the Chiefs have got that onus on them to make a play, but they need to also pull a rabbit out of a hat in regards to what that play looks like if they want to be successful, because it is dire straits.
Chaz had to respect that because the ultimate from Draku there could have nullified the Sleepy Trouble bubble, and it would have been a bit of a greedy player, which possibly could have been an invitation back into this game, catching somebody out of place like such and giving across some bounty gold too. But Liv buying his time right now, waiting to get towards Mega. They full swave to go into Dragon, as he is already down to a third, chunked out beautifully here so far. And that just gives, once again, Pentanet control of these map states. They've got Biopanther pushing mid-wave right now. They're crashing topside too. They've called out Draku. He's forced to burn that ultimate. Biopanther on the flank. Hits the knockup, hits the stun. They've put Pabu into the pits. Now can Pentanet find their moment to shine again? Can they look to try and take out key members? He's flashed away. He just already assassinates one. It wasn't the focal point, but he'll take it anyway. And Pentanet just having fun with their food now.
Yeah, they're still hunting, and Boma's going to have to use his ultimate there as well, and just really forcing the Chiefs back. Even with Draku headbutting Pabu into the Shadow Realm, they still are able to push forwards and run themselves out of mana before they even consider running out of health. Baron now going to be the target. Swathe alive, flash available, no ultimate, however, so can't ult over the pit. It's going to be very difficult to stop this one, to be honest, especially with your goalkeeper Zoe over there having a flash ready.
Yep, and not to mention, if they were to try and jump into this one, he'll get another flash as a result as well. He hits the Flame Breath. It's not going to be successful. He can't get access into the pit. He doesn't want to commit that flash either. All the buffs in the world here now, Rusty, for Pentanet, Mountain Soul, Baron. It's pretty much a flawless game from them, apart from that one blip. You called it. That might be the highlight here for Chiefs, and it has played out that way so far.
I feel bad that I did call that, Skibby, you know? Like, I don't want a game to go like this, but it just had that feeling from the way it was playing out. Even when they got the kill onto Biopanther, he was so far ahead of his lane opponent that it was a catch-up kill more than anything else. The game's continued out almost as you would expect from the best team in the league. Lived no chance in any kind of 1v1 in this situation. If that hit, I honestly think Praedyth might have gone.
And I agree. And I don't contest it for one moment right there. Then they go for the 1-4 split with their AD carry in that one. He is so strong at this stage that I don't think anybody can really go toe-to-toe with him right now. Mid-tier 3 falls on down. The inhibitor is exposed. That'll crash as well. 25 minutes into this one, the Winions are on the menu. Kisei and Liv now on a flanking angle. They've got to do something. He's soon to turn Mega. He's hoping for a massive ultimate to turn the tide of this game. Draku might fall on down before the fight even starts. He does indeed. The ultimate can't be used. The bot lane of Chiefs is dead. He's now drowsy. Praedyth spins into action, drifting from mid to bot. The Voidseeker connects. The burning flashes. They're burning life bars. And Pentanet are biding their time.
All that's left is to put the bow on it as they'll push towards the Nexus. Nothing that Swathe or Kisei can do, surely. That's game.
Looks to be the case right now. A Shockwave once again does not connect onto anybody. Demoralizing defeat here for Chiefs. And it does beg the question, Rusty, as a Pentanet player, or as a player looking into this, how do you stop this roster? Undefeated, 11-0, well secured to get themselves in for this playoffs run.
I mean, you're exactly right. There's 1 week left of the LCO before playoffs begin. There was a statement game by Pentanet.gg, never in doubt. They're coming into the last week still undefeated, and you cannot give them anything. You give them even a single moment, they'll start to run away with this. And for me, that single moment was legitimately just the draft in bottom lane. You gave them so much priority, and then Biopanther just somehow styling on his opponent up there as well, because it's a Gnar. Like, I would say draft is something that they have to look at before anything else if I was the Chiefs.
And Mac, tell me, just what is the recipe? How does anybody beat this team right now? Because it looks like the teams are confused, we're unsure, they're getting everything they want, and they're just continuing day and week after week, showing that they can pop off with it.
Well, look, just had a quick look over on the other monitor there to look at the stats, and Praedyth hasn't died in 3 games. So I want to know how long it's going to be before he dies again, because That's bloody ridiculous. That's completely ridiculous. This man is just farming up a storm, seems to avoid all this kind of damage, and he's just so good. He just pumps it out. He keeps getting the bloody Kaiser. No one can stop him on this champion. The only people that can are the ones that want to play it and pick it earlier than him. But again, Pentanet having just such a solid draft. It keeps on happening. I don't know why. I don't know how. And I don't know if it even matters, honestly, at this point. You give him anything, you ban away anything from him, and then at that point, it's like, what are you going to do? It just seems so unachievable for Chiefs in this game. Yeah, they started strong, but then it was just a slow but sure downhill battle from, what, like the 10-minute mark?
Yeah,
I don't know, Mac. I don't know, Mac. It's so hard to watch when you're seeing a situation like this where a team is continually coming at you with ideas or angles and saying, what about this and how about that? And then you have moments like this where Praetor literally jumps in under a turret and says, I don't care at all. He does it topside as well as he's looking to bully across in a side lane situation, and you're thinking, the game shouldn't be playing out like this. The confidence from Pentanet right now, it really is matching the performance.
I just want to see, I don't know, just the next couple of games next week, because there is a couple of big games coming up leading into next week. And if Praetor is going to fall, you know, just once, maybe once before playoffs, because at this point, he's not only going for the perfect run with Pentanet, but he's going for a perfect finish to the season. And it's what you need, you know. You want to set your foot down and say, I am the best ADC in the region. And I know Violet has something to say about that, but this is certainly a way to do it. Just don't die. Farm up a storm, keep on getting them kills with Kaiser.
I mean, Pentanet will be playing against Peace in the coming week, so there is a possibility to see exactly that, right? To see if Violet can put a say into no-death Praetor through that last week. So you've got your narrative, Mac, and we'll see how that one plays out, because I am excited for it. I do think that Peace still have the tools to beat PGG. I think it exists. I don't know if it'll happen, but it exists.
Look, I think I'm just a little bit underwhelmed with the performance from Chiefs. I really liked what I saw initially. When I saw the Shyvana pick, I just got excited because I was like, yes, get to see a little bit of Dragon Girl going ham again. But unfortunately, didn't see too much action other than that first gank right up top. Anyway, we do have Nat down on the sidelines with one of the winners yet again. And Nat, who do you have this week, or today rather, from Pentanet to chat to?
Look, I've gone with the staple. I've picked Pabu again. I just absolutely enjoyed talking to this man. Pabu, 11 wins. God, you guys are unstoppable. There is absolutely no beating you. How you feeling?
Pretty good, pretty good. 11 wins is pretty crazy. I expected to do well this split, but, you know, one more week and we've made it, the undefeated split, so that'll be really hype.
Yeah, I mean, you only have 3 games left, and I guess the hardest one out of that is Peace. But I want to talk about this game a little bit more. I want to ask you about the draft. You know, I remember we did an interview, I think it was this week, and you kind of just dunked on the nah. You're like, I don't know why teams are still picking it. Like, is this a prime example of why, like, they need to steer away from it?
It's so weird because every team picks nah straight away, and we just pick Scion into it, and then Biopanther wins lane every time. Like, the level of play from these players on nah is, like, honestly pathetic. They lose lane on this champion designed to give you priority, and, like, it's really gross. And it's like, I don't know why these players opt into picking a pick that should give you priority if they just lose lane anyways. Like, I don't know. If you're going to lose lane, might as well pick the tank and be useful. But, like, instead, they lock in nah early, they waste draft resources on it, and then they have no impact anyways. It's just like, I don't know. It's like, I have Brandon Alexander, Biopanther, in my top lane, and I feel so happy every game. And then I look at, like, the enemy top laner, and it's like, I would not want to play. Like, I just want, like, I don't know. It's absurd. The level of top lane play is really disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, Maximize all the way at the start of the split was talking about how there wasn't much there, but I guess Biopanther is just leagues above everyone else here. The early game, I mean, look, I feel like there's not a whole lot on this game. I want you to walk me through it anyway, but it felt like you guys kind of just snowballed for most of it.
It's a pretty standard, you know, PGG resident sleeper draft. You know, we have Scion, Kai'Sa, Seraphine, we're playing scaling, we win the front-to-back team fight, but we tried out something new in Zoe Olaf, and we tried to play a bit more pressure in the early game, and we weren't too successful, but we kind of did ruin their bot lane, so it was a good start for us. A bit more, like, a bit more pressure gameplay for us, which is something we're not super used to. So it was a decent early game. But as soon as they locked in Shyvana, like, I don't know, the mid 2v2 is so unplayable. That, like, Kisei is such a strong mid laner, especially on his counter picks, and the fact that they're holding counter pick for jungle to pick a champion that doesn't do anything is really weird. It kind of prevents them from playing the early game. They hold 5p for Shyvana, which is a good scaling pick that counters certain team comps, but one, it doesn't counter our team comp, and then two, it offers nothing in the early game. So it feels like they really hamstring themselves when they have like a strong mechanical mid lane talent. It's like the only way I think they win that game is if they have like a good mid lane 5 pick that allows them to play the mid 2v2. But they force him to blind, they give him just like a super standard control mage, we pick a champion that beats it early, and then it's like, it's hard for them to play.
I guess, like, after hearing all of that, would you say the biggest key for teams to beat you guys is really down to draft? And maybe, you know, at what point is it we don't pick comfort picks anymore, we pick what we potentially could beat you guys on?
I don't think that, like I guess draft is important, but I don't think teams need good drafts to beat us. They just need to give themselves options and play towards their strengths. A lot of teams, yeah, for example, the Chiefs, like Kisei is really like a strong laner, a strong mechanical player, but they're always like shafting him and putting him in these positions where he's just playing like the scaling, like late game threat, which I really think is like a waste of his skill set. So it's like teams just need to be more realistic with who they are, stop trying to be like Damwon Gaming and be, you know, the Chiefs. Like, you can kind of just, I don't know, like, accept reality and draft towards yourself a bit more, play your own game, and I'm sure teams will find more success.
Look, I hope there are some other teams out there listening to this interview. It would be very interesting to see a bit of a shake-up in the drafts. But I do want to ask you one last question. This one's not related specifically to this game, because I feel like every time I interview you, it's just either draft gap or, man, we just absolutely gapped and butt. But who has been your favorite champ to play this split? Like, who are you just like, I want to keep playing this champ over and over again?
When you have a good game on Olaf, he's pretty hilarious because, like, they can't really do anything about it. But I do think Hecarim has been kind of the funniest champion that I've played. Like, you kind of just click all your buttons and you run at 14,000 move speed and you just run at their carry and they're just dead. And it's like, he's tanky, you can't one-shot him, he one-shots you, and he runs across the map to find you if you ever make a mistake. So it's pretty hilarious when you just lock in the horse and you just sprint down mid and they die.
I love it. I really appreciate everything you've given me tonight in the interview, and congratulations again on still being undefeated. And we'll see you next week for maybe another 3-0.
Hope so.
It's getting hot in there.
I feel so much smarter
the shit
after
out of the
listening to Pabu. It's honestly insane. He writes the interview for Nat. Like, Nat's just sitting back to like, tell me more.
Yeah. I've said it before, but these are the sort of players I absolutely love interviewing, you know. I don't know a lot about League, so walk me through it, explain everything, and everything Pabu just gave me there, man. I feel like a giant 5-head right now. Like, also, I feel like I could win in League.
He was savage, yes. Like, he's calling people pathetic. But where was the lie in anything he said, right? Like, where is the incorrect information? He said absolute facts. You want to beat them? Draft helps, but just don't suck, right? Like, play League of Legends better and don't hamstring yourself with draft. You can do it.
Well, this was the funniest thing is, you know, in Kuden's interview, he's saying their game plan was to kill them. And unfortunately, Mac pointed out, Kratos just didn't even die. So they, you know, couldn't kind of execute the one thing Kuden said that they were aiming to do.
It was nuts. It was completely nuts. The Sunday roast, it's not even Sunday. A little bit cooked that one early. You know, it's going to be cold on Sunday by the time we get there. But something that was cooked to perfection was the play of the day. Let's bring her up. It was Gravitas, the final fight that managed to lock it down. And it was when Piglet just farmed up a storm. Mammoth was certainly on the menu, wasn't it, Rusty?
Game of the year. Changed my mind. You can't. Game of the year. Best game. Piglet, this was after their earlier team fight as well, where he went absolutely insane with an Isaiah Rakan engage to kick that one off. This is the fight where it's like, my turn to carry, support me while I do all the work. And, you know, frontline tank Isaiah goes off.
Look, couldn't have played it any better, could they, Skimmy?
No, I mean, they were literally popping off and having the time of their life. You could see it from Zeus in the post-game interview, how much it meant to them personally. Nat was there, and you know, you hit the nail on the head, I'm pretty sure, right? You know, some of these players have been quite reserved at times, but he was full of jubilation. You could see that they were so stoked that that game worked in their favor. And From the pre-game to the post-game, you know, the fact is that they said, we think we should be better than this opposition. Sure, they got thrown a curveball. They made the adaptations in draft between Lockett and Karma. That the Wombo combo press R comp that Mammoth had put together, it just wasn't able to do enough in the end.
Yeah, they just needed to press R more times, and sometimes you can't press R if your ult's on cooldown. So very unfortunate for them. But look, let's have a look at the standings and where everyone's sitting at the end of day 3 for week 4. We'll bring them up in a moment. And dare say Pentanet's still undefeated. They certainly are. Oh, and look at that. Dire Wolves, with the win, have secured themselves a playoff position. So big congratulations to them joining Peace and Pentanet. That leaves just 2 more spots to make sure one of these teams can make it across the line. And this is the first time in a while where we've seen the ladder sorted from 1st to 8th cleanly, Rusty.
Oh, true. I was going to say, yeah, we've got our first confirmation, no color changes for Mammoth being eliminated at the bottom there. But now you mentioned it, yeah, with 3 games left, we have absolute separation for these teams trying to vie to get into that top 5.
I guess, like, even though it is all separated and ordered, you know, there's still this, like, battle for the 5th position between Chiefs, Legacy, and Gravitas. And I believe, like, Chiefs and Gravitas are coming up against each other. Gravitas need to win all games next week to tie. So for them to be going up against each other next week, like, that's going to be a really big decider for who's going to be taking the 5th spot.
Yeah. It is worth noting, though, that their next 3 games are going to be really stacked against them. Chiefs, then into Dire Wolves, then Pentanet to end your first season here in the LCO. So, look, hey, if they can do it, then, you know, credit to them. They're the best players in League of Legends, but I think the deck is a little bit stacked against them.
I think so, too. But there's also Legacy on the potential to tie with them. You know, there's only, I think, a 2-game difference between them, so very possible.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Legacy now. It's a very much an uphill battle. They've got 3 games left, I believe, to put their foot down and maybe get back in, but it relies on other teams now really just not doing a good job, and that's not something you want to rely on as a team. Now, we do have another from the fans. You guys at home have been hard at work at sending in your op.gg's, and we'll bring up another one. This time it is the Descended with a C instead of an S. Triggered, Rusty?
Triggered? Why?
I don't know. Just the spelling. Anyway, how about this, though? How many games played? It's unranked solo. Played 8 games,
That's
so
8
almost
out of 10
ranked.
placements. Yeah.
But Ash Connoisseur.
If this isn't a Smurf, and if this is, you know, real, this is actually a good place to try to get some solid coaching in.
Oh, yes and no. I know who Ranger Bree is.
Okay.
I would not be surprised to just see Ash as the only champion 99% of the time. It does seem to be an Ash connoisseur, so I will defer to our other experts here for any coaching that they would wish to offer.
Skimmy.
Oof.
You're the
I don't
first
know about
expert
Ash
in
at
my
the
mind.
moment. I'd be looking at Samira win rate and saying, okay, it's 1 game, but that tells me enough right now. In terms of playmaking potential, surely a champion that does a whole bunch more in solo queue. I feel like Ash right now is utility, where sometimes you've got to be quite greedy in solo queue. You've got to just grab the grips and say, look, I'm taking control of this situation. I don't think Ash... Maybe for, you know, a poking lane with the Karma or an Enchanter, you can find yourself with a really strong start in the bot lane, but otherwise you're looking at those meta champions for a reason.
What about you, Nat? Anything from this image that you like to see?
Yeah, you know, I think I'm going to say something that hasn't been said yet. I'm going to say maybe try some more champs. I feel like always we hear, you know, Reina didn't only do 1 or 2, but, you know, maybe let's just diversify a little bit more. I'd be interested. Not to the extent of, you know, 20 different champs, but it'd be interesting to see if you could get that win rate on maybe another champ or 2.
Look, there are more rangers there as well. I believe you got Twitch. He's got a crossbow. You got Varus. He's got
yes.
some crazy bow.
Here we
I don't
go.
know. Any more bows off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head.
Ooh. Surely one of the crazy things that Aphelios pulls out is a bow.
I
No?
don't think so. No, he has
All guns.
shurikens, a sniper, a gravity
a
cannon,
dagger,
a
a
flamethrower, and a dagger, yeah.
I heard shurikens were derived from bows. You can chisel them
There
out
you
of bows. But look, let's have a look at what we're going to be seeing next Tuesday for much more LCO action. And, oh, please give me something good. Ooh, I'm seeing a lot of good stuff here. Mammoth and Peace kicking things off. Let's see if Peace can stomp that one, or if Mammoth can maybe come up with some kind of recipe for success. 7 p.m. Pentanet and Order. Look, Pentanet still just trying to make sure that they can get 12 on the board. Order, they need these wins. It's going to be a hard run to the finals for them. Legacy, high potential for an upset on Direwolves if they play their A game. But of course, Direwolves trending upwards, continuing, and have already locked their way into playoffs. Do they hit the brakes because of that? Who knows? I guess we'll see. And at 9 p.m, Gravitas and Chiefs to round things off. Gravitas playing relatively good recently, and Chiefs in a bit of a rut. So this is a must-win for Chiefs.
Yeah,
Must win either way, right?
Yeah,
must win either way. I think that kind of like is the finale of that day one for our final week here of Split 1. It's kind of I don't want to say it's a do or die because it really isn't, but it definitely puts yourself into a situation where, hey, if you can't win here, what are the confidence levels like going into playoffs? Because you don't have any more chances to impress now.
Yeah, I think a lot of those games as well are going to be deciding maybe the remainder of the standings and who goes into playoffs. Potentially. I only did quick maths in my head, but I'm pretty sure, not that I want to go into detail, but the last 2 games will give us a very clear indicator as who's making it and who's not.
Well, I guess we'll see once we get there, but it is going to be Tuesday, so I guess have 3 happy days. You know, enjoy your weekend, everyone at home. That's it from us on the desk, and thank you again for joining us on this beautiful, wonderful, lovely, immaculate, perfect, stunning, wet, stormy Friday. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Dials choose to go for the Baron. This will die.
Yeah, and we've seen this happen before, the TP angle in to try and backdoor and end the game like that. What a trade, what a disciplined move. Will he be the hero that watches this team crumble before his own eyes? That's Syndra dead, there goes Vengeance, he's full on down as well. Baron buff proving to be so huge. An explosive cast gone to 2, that forces out the TP as Direwolves look to try and end this game. Here he goes in a 1v5 situation. What can he do? He pops the Hex to Ultimatum, he flashes on out, he's running back to that fountain. Knock it, they picked up the Baron, now the 5v5 ensues. That's a 2-man knockup, both the bruisers locked in place, both the bruisers gone before the fight can even really take place. Now the squishy members with their Baron buff can't do anything with it.
When they get going, it's mid lane again.
Oh no, Lisa runs him down with a chem tank there. That's a 2-man knockup from the Call of the Forge God, and adds insult to injury. Headbutt them into a wall, lights out.
Yeah, they're certainly looking to try and end this right now. They're engaging.
That they certainly are, and as soon as they engage, they find blood. They take him down. Why not? He finds that moment. He gets his second game here in the LCO. I think actually going to flash away there because he thought the Feather Storm might have been enough to try and turn things around. That's a massive knockup with the free as a result. Mammoth turning things around, but Gravitas doing even better. That's the Piglet show. He hits the Feather Storm. The Piglet, he's the key member. Buffers the Feather Storm. He's so safe. Disengaging out of all the damage thrown his way. They find the kill. There's the GA proc right now into Nocturne. Disengaging, kiting, peeling and protecting. They're doing everything. He flashes forward aggressively into the face of danger. He doesn't care. The GA is there. And he do. That's Chaz now down to 30%. He's looking to try and do whatever he can to survive, but he doesn't need to do much. He'll pick up the kill, but the boys there to protect him, and the mobility, if they self-submitted it, what does it actually mean? Because skirmishes definitely present themselves, and Praetor just might go for the 1v1 cheek and Live now on a flanking angle. They've got to do